Now, I will say, with the invention of technology, information, and also new processes, the gap between new homes and custom homes is going to close. I think.
He did anyway.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Architecture Distilled, and we're here with Joe Arenas, uh, who we're introducing as part of the team. He's been helping with a lot of the edits and stuff like that so far, but we wanted to bring him on because he has some insights into the production home building and yeah, and doing like helping with design, production, how that all works with Revit and all kinds of different things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we just want to like introduce him and let him kind of have a moment here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy
Tell us
to
a
be
little bit.
on.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, pretty much got started in architecture right out of high school, really. Um, right out of high school, graduated. My one of my teachers said, "Hey, I got a guy who's needing a drafter, come work in the office, do some drawings." And I thought it was just going to be like, typical revision type work. Started working with him, and first day I just made blueprints like manually through the ammonia machine, and
So this was right out of high school.
right out of high school.
Right out of
Yeah.
high school.
And
Nice.
then after day two, I get in the office. He says, "Hey, we got clients coming in. They want a brand new house. Here's the initial sketch. You're gonna meet with them and finish up the design." I'm like, "What?"
So you didn't have any
Yeah, it was his
like
first job, like out of high school.
right out of high school.
Day
Yeah.
two,
Dang.
first job.
Yeah. Now he was in the meeting
I
with
just want
me.
to say that is not normal.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
that is not normal.
I was like,
And he
okay.
was he a licensed architect,
He
or
was
was
he was unlicensed, but he was well known throughout the Dallas industry.
for
There's
doing custom
probably
homes and stuff like
yeah.
that? Okay.
There's probably not a name in home building that hasn't worked with him at some point. His name's Mike Land. Awesome employer, teacher, mentor. Lots of knowledge.
Oh yeah, he just threw you in to the
Yeah,
wolves.
yeah.
Here you go.
I owe a lot of my success to working with him.
Nice.
And yeah, he was a great employer, and I learned a lot from him. My favorite thing was we don't ever do a meeting that's not a lunch meeting. That was kind of my favorite thing. Everything was a lunch meeting, and that's I kind of learned that's how business was done at that time. Was go out to lunch, you discuss things, you talk about the project, you get to know someone, and you really it's really about getting to know someone for a lot of these projects, especially
Yeah.
a custom home.
And you
Oh,
get
for
to write it
sure.
off as a business expense.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Yeah.
So I actually my taste in food actually derived a lot from that because at a very early on I was eating at different restaurants, eating
Mm.
different foods. I got to explore a lot of what Dallas has to offer, and a lot of people don't know Dallas is like the number one place for restaurants in the United States. Like we
Yeah.
have more restaurants per mile than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All different
Jeez.
types of food. So
Even though I can never seem to figure out where we're gonna go eat if
that's
like,
true. That's a weird. That's
the dilemma of choice, right? Because you
Yeah.
have so many choices. It's
It's like,
easy.
where
There's
do
only
we
two
go?
choices, right?
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I want fried chicken. And it's like, okay, we have one of these 10 places we can go to.
Yeah, yeah. So day two, you're designing houses for customers. What was day three like?
So it
Here's a
just,
skyrise.
yeah,
The
it
high
just,
rise?
it just evolved from there. Eventually, I think it was around my second year there. He started just handing off clients just to me. Like I would meet with him and then he would meet with other clients and we would just double the work that way. We got
Nice.
up. I think our best year was about 80 custom homes a year.
Wow.
And that was that.
Man, if we get there,
Yeah, I had
heck yeah.
no point of reference, but that was quite a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, there's not every other street in Preston Hollow. There is a home that we have done on that street.
Wow.
So it's one of my proudest achievements that I've done at an early age. And shortly after that, we hit the 2008 recession. Not fun at all. Things just went really south. He kind of put pause on things. I kind of stepped back. Ended up taking on a part-time job at Radio Shack, and then got into consumer sales, electronics, and then from there. Moved on to Sony, started selling for them. Turns out I had a knack for it, became like the number one seller in the store and then the region, and then just kind of built a small sales career out of that.
Yeah.
And then still had the architecture bug, so I was like, I got to get back into it somehow. And then ended up applying at Strand Systems, and
Yeah.
that's where I met Andrew.
That's where we started our
Yeah,
journey off. Yeah.
yeah,
I remember that.
2012, and it was great because I had just learned about Revit just from YouTube, and I
Mhm.
was like, man, I really want to work with this software. I want to find a place that uses that software, and I want to learn more of it. And Strand was one of the early ones to
Yeah.
early breakthroughs to
Yeah.
use the
As
software.
soon as I got there, it
Yeah,
was like, that's what we were using. I mean, I was just pretty much thrown right in, had to figure it out. I mean, I knew a little bit about BIM and
Mhm.
Revit and all that stuff from college, but I'd never really used it real world. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
Strand still probably is a great place
Oh
to
yeah,
go
yeah.
learn.
It's
Uh,
yeah, it's extremely rare for a company not only to take on Revit but to use it in a very successful manner. Um,
yeah,
Strand had got it figured out. They got their templates. They got their process. It was very beneficial to see, the working model of how Revit is used
yeah,
in the residential industry. It's been used in commercial. Commercial is very successful.
yeah. We use it in
That's the bread and
commercial.
butter. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Uh,
Yeah.
we struggle with, uh, I guess, because everybody had everything set up in AutoCAD. So now it's like getting that AutoCAD template and your Revit template to kind of match up or marry up, because there's still and I hate this, but still some projects going on in AutoCAD
There are, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
Revit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Especially
but
like MEP and structural. Revit's not great at structural analysis, and I hear that the like electrical load analysis isn't great, so they still
Mhm.
tend to lean on AutoCAD for very simple projects. I
yeah,
find it interesting that there's a sizable age gap between us, that you're talking about going to places that are already using it and learning it, and I remember telling my bosses we need to be starting this and
yeah,
dragging them into the Revit world, because
no, for sure. I mean,
yeah, I
it's
started I started doing 3D modeling in Max 4 before it was what I can't remember, 3D Studio Max.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
before they called it 3D Studio,
yeah.
mm.
and that
And
was in
now,
college.
yeah, now 3D Studio Max, like, it's not an existent really right now.
I
Yeah,
I
remember
think it's
that.
still there, but it's like,
Well,
uh,
Blender and things like that have
yeah.
kind of
yeah,
taken over.
And it's I mean, I think, and we're starting to see now in the industry is a lot of the residential side. It's no longer, oh, we should start doing Revit. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to go to Revit, only because there's just so much emphasis put on accurate models to cut down construction times, information you can get out of the models, estimating
yeah,
data,
Yeah.
just being able to find ways to enhance the overall process. There's a lot of companies that used to be segmented. Architecture lived here, purchasing lived here, your construction lived here, and none of it talked to each other. And they're realizing, oh, in order to get it all talk to each other, information to travel, we've got to find a way to link that. And
hmm,
Revit and BIM and new processes are a way to do that.
yeah,
And that's kind of where my career is at now.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I think some big differences with, uh, like, we'll get more into this later, but some of the big differences with like the commercial side and the residential side, like, I feel like residential side you can do a little bit more of the modeling and like be like you can get more into like the details of everything, like
mhm.
including like the trim and just certain things that you probably wouldn't do in a commercial project just because it's so big. Uh,
Yeah.
Typically on the commercial side, we try not to model anything that you're not going to see in the drawing, in the actual like construction document drawings.
Yeah.
Now, unless we're like doing renderings, of course,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and that's a whole nother issue
Hmm.
Yeah.
with workflow from Revit to we
Whatever.
use
Yeah.
Inkscape,
Yeah.
but yeah, that workflow it can kind of get cumbersome compared to like SketchUp to Inkscape. But
Yeah.
Hmm.
anyways, like so one of the questions I had rolling in my mind is like uh from because you worked in the custom side, now you're in the production side,
Yeah.
like large production home side. Like, what's the big difference there? Like,
Oh yeah.
some of the challenges that you face there.
So coming from Strand, for those that don't know, Strand works with a lot of production builders. That's was really my first introduction into production building, and I kind of learned a lot. You would think designing a 6,000 square foot custom home would be more difficult than designing a 2,000 square foot production home. But I quickly learned like that 2,000 square foot production home, you've got options, you've got different
Yeah.
elevations, affects roof, affects structure. You have multiple sides and pieces of the house changing in and out. There's a lot of complexity to coordinate in just that one little house.
Mm-hmm.
Not
And
to mention that the sales margin is tiny,
yeah,
right? So it's got to be hyper efficient, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's costing. There's a lot of other design parameters that go into it. Custom homes, you've got your budget, you've got the customer, and then you got the overall design, and you're fitting within some certain parameters. Production homes, there's just a lot more parameters, and there's depending on the company, clients, the product. There's different parameters. Lot size is one. Typically, if you're building custom, they've got a decent amount of land. Sometimes you're constrained by the land. But production, you've got a lot size, you got to put that product on the lot. And then not only are you thinking about that one design, but it's got to fit within a product series. So you
Mm.
have the variables of every other product in the series impacting that one plan. And it's quite complex to kind of program something that this one house needs to meet these buyers, but it also needs to be in a series that also complements the same range of buyers
Mm-hmm.
at their different levels. And just very different approach to like trying to design a single house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And you're one of the ones that's using Revit.
mhm,
I mean, you did at Strand, and now you're at
Brightland
Brightland
Home.
Homes,
Yeah.
and you're using Revit primarily, correct?
Oh yeah, we are 99.9% Revit. We have one core plan that's still in AutoCAD, and it's only because it sells like 3 a year. So that's the one we just leave in AutoCAD. And yeah, we made a decision to not only go Revit, but figure out what is the best way to use Revit for production homes. Capturing because we do estimating, and we estimate from the blueprints, the drawings, and starting from the model. And it's all about capturing that data. So we have to make sure anything that we build gets modeled.
Mm.
So there's no surprises in the field, no surprises after we draw the model. I
So you
I
guys taking material takeoffs as well,
Yeah, we
offing it then?
yeah, we're
That's
starting
what
to
you're saying?
extract stuff from the model. And yeah, it's a big process.
Do y'all put manufacturer specific families in there?
So we started that way at first, and what we quickly found out is that let's say you start off with Whirlpool, and then all of a sudden you switch manufacturers. Then the question comes, okay, do I need to update all my drawings, or do I just show the same Whirlpool appliances? Now, if you're extracting straight from the model, you would need to switch them out. So what we decided to do is say dishwasher is a dishwasher, and then it extracts out to a database. And then in the database, that's where we plug in, okay, it's Whirlpool, it's KitchenAid, it's GE. And then that way,
That's what we're
the
doing.
switching of that information is on a separate layer than the
Mm-hmm.
model. And then the model still shows, a dishwasher. The only time I would actually go back to the model is if size changes, because we like to
Mm.
put the size of the appliance, and then we also put a box that shows like any doors that swing out, or if like your oven door swings out, what does that space take up? Because if you have another door that intersects that or another object, you never want to put a dishwasher across from an oven and the doors have could clash. So we take all that into account. And
Yeah.
I think everybody knows the notorious drawing a kitchen with a counter depth refrigerator. Like, how many times is that buyer actually going to get the counter depth refrigerator? They're probably going to get the normal big one. It's going to stick out,
Right.
5 inches.
Yeah.
And then now you've got doors that are, in front of a hallway and you
Yeah.
can't get around it.
Yeah, we do something in the interior design world
Yeah.
because that's where I'm at right now a little bit. But what we do is, and we were doing this at Hodges too when we were doing multifamily kitchens. We're we're basically furring out a wall
Mm-hmm.
to make one side deeper or whatever, so that when you fit that refrigerator in it, it fit like a counter depth.
Yeah.
But it wasn't using the counter depth. So like counter depths are of course more money typically,
Mm-hmm.
or at least that's how it was. So we would, to get around that, give it that like certain look and feel, we
Mhm.
would fur that wall out. Yeah, it would cost more, of course, to fur the wall out,
Yeah.
but really that wood framing is probably not
Yeah.
Inconsequential.
that bad, And of course you lose a little bit of square footage maybe within the unit or the house, but
Yeah.
that was our way of getting around that. And funny thing enough is we use that in the corporate side too, of like when we're designing like a break room kitchen or whatever, because yeah, they're thinking about price too. So they're not going to go buy a counter depth either, but they
Yeah.
want the counter depth look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's a lot of people don't know. You buy a counter depth, you pay $200, $400, $500 more, but you get less space in the fridge.
Yeah, that's pretty
And so,
substantial.
yeah, when you're shopping at home and you're like, I need a refrigerator. Oh, this one has a lot of space. That's the one I want. Go in, put it in your house, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's sticking out past the kitchen, and you're like, how am I going to walk around
Yeah,
the island? And
It doesn't look good. and-
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's some of the things that we can capture, especially in BIM, because you can actually have a refrigerator family that is the actual size.
yeah.
Laundry machines are another one. We plan on the biggest fixtures. That way, we can say if the customer gets those extra wide washer and dryers, will it still work in this laundry room?
Yeah. That makes
and
sense.
and you're talking about differences of like 1 to 4 inches, and that's really the difference between a good designed production home and then something that's just thrown on a sketch, thrown in AutoCAD, and just put out there. Is that 1 to 4 inches? Does the cabinet counter hit the trim of the door? Do you have weird cabinet sizes in your kitchens? Is there just things that just look slightly unbalanced? And it's all those little inches that add up when you're not doing that level of detail in a model. So one of our policies, we don't do um, nothing conceptual goes out as a hand sketch. You can start it as a hand sketch, but it has to be put into Revit with actual walls, windows, and doors. That way we know, hey, this is the
Everything
actual
fits
space.
and works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that eliminates so many just field issues in general.
Well, and when we mentioned earlier that, you don't get into that level of detail generally for commercial projects. And just listening to you talk, it's because in the commercial world, even for like an apartment complex, here's the basic cabinet layout that we want. Well, we're going to go through an entire shop drawing process that you don't necessarily have to go through otherwise. So we don't have to worry about modeling all that, right? Because
Yeah.
the cabinet experts are going to model it for us
Yeah.
and tell us,
So maybe we can give a basic
yeah,
like,
we want
look and
doors
feel
and
to
drawers and things. Yeah.
but
And then they give you
yeah.
all you need is that one width. As long as you have that width in all the units, you're good. Golden across the board.
So I remember Strand, we would tag each one like what they were, and I think the depth of it and the width of it, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at some old drawings to see, but
Yeah.
we were pretty in depth there. And oh man, the funny thing is like when we went from the architecture to material takeoff,
Oh yeah.
which we
yeah.
called the MTO department, like they would completely rebuild our models from scratch, basically.
Wow.
I mean,
Like
they
a
would.
huge waste of money.
I
Yeah.
think they had LinkedIn or something.
Yeah, they would keep the walls, I think the windows and doors, but then they would manually draw in the beams, manually draw in like
Oh yeah, because they
I
were
think some
taking
of
it
the
from
board walls.
structural.
Yeah.
So they were taking structural drawings and
Yeah.
basically drawing in the
Yeah.
framing and everything.
Yeah, it was a whole process to get that in there.
But typically, like even our structural people
Mhm,
um, would not touch the house until we were fully designed.
mhm.
Like we had everything laid out, which in a house it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to like in commercial side, you want to know like, oh, what's our beam spacing
Yeah.
gonna be?
Yeah.
What, all that little
Mhm.
intricate stuff, because that could affect like leasing and different
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then
parts of
again,
the
in a home, in a house, there's industry standards that you can follow, and in a custom commercial building, there are no standards.
Yeah.
So hey, well, that duct might be 48 inches deep or
Yeah.
whatever, and so I got to have a beam that can go around it, or
yeah.
whatever. So yeah, there's a lot more back and forth in the commercial.
Yeah. Now I find like just being in, and this is kind of going off topic a little bit, but going from like single family to multifamily to commercial or more uh corporate side of things. Like I've noticed like when we're designing the MEP stuff in for a clubhouse, like typically you want to be able, we always ran into problems because a lot of times the clubhouse ended up being built out of steel. So
Mhm.
then like penetrating ducts and doing certain things, like we ended up like having to fur down
Yeah.
ceilings and stuff, and that kind of, oh, now our ceiling's 8 foot instead of 9 foot,
Mhm.
so it starts to feel a little
Yeah.
claustrophobic. Well, I find in like the corporate side, I mean, of course, a lot of these buildings are concrete or steel.
Mhm.
None of them are wood, really. So we're running into, of course, you run into some of that stuff, but people seem not to be bothered by it as
Mm.
much uh,
Yeah,
compared to like
there's
our multifamily clients.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the multifamily clients also, they want to, I'm not going to put that on necessarily all of our clients, but we ran into issues where certain people would be, well, you need to make that shorter, that space shorter, so it doesn't cost as much. Well, that just destroys everything we've been working on,
Yeah.
because cost was paramount, right?
Yeah. I mean, you see it in the corporate side too. Like
That's
sometimes you have to shrink down.
yeah, that's
Stuff.
one
And I'm
thing.
sure the single family house and
Yeah, so
production side.
one of the unique things about what we're doing at our department at Brightland and kind of the process is we actually take a holistic approach to design. So it's not typically in the traditional process, it's just do a floor plan, propose that out there. Do you like the floor plan? Then come back, do elevation, and then you just launch the plan as is, and then all the pieces fall in afterwards. Our current process is we actually say, okay, what is this plan? What is the series? What is the target customer profile? What is the costing we're trying to hit? And then also, what are all the structural variables we control, specification variables we can control? How are we going to sell the plan? We're thinking about elevations a lot of times before we even do the floor plan,
Hmm.
because we're reverse engineering from uh, what is the first thing a customer sees when they go either on the street or on the website? It's going to be the
Hmm.
front elevation.
Yeah, that curb appeal.
Yeah. And I tell everybody, nothing,
So yeah, all you're gonna see is like
yeah.
house from here to here, and then the next house.
Yeah. A good elevation will always outsell your best salesperson. Because
Hmm.
if you don't have a good elevation, no one's going to click on the picture. No one's going to walk into the home. That's really your best sales tool.
Mhm.
So we start looking at it that way. And then we say, okay, what's the offer to the buyer? When you
Hmm.
walk into this house, what are you wanting to present to them? It's usually the first interactions they have when they're walking in the home. So is it we want to present that there's a lot of rooms, so then we start doing, okay, they have a flex room, they have 3 bedrooms and a master and a huge kitchen, or is it spaces, a bigger kitchen, a bigger living room, a bigger dining, maybe one less bedroom, but they have bigger spaces. So we really design based on what is the presentation of this particular home in this range of homes. Because if they
Mhm.
want more rooms, then we have another plan that can do that. If they actually want less footage but more space, we have another plan that can do that. And it's just a way that we can offer solutions to a buyer,
Yeah.
without trying to be like all locked in, all in on this one plan. It's just a one solution out of a range of solutions that
Yeah.
we can give to buyers.
So, like, you guys do a lot of design options
Oh,
as well,
yes.
right? Within that
Yeah.
same floor plan? So I know we did that a lot at Strand where we provided a lot of like different options. Like instead of a 2-car garage, you got a 3-car garage or a 2.5-car garage.
Yeah.
For those that may not know, Revit has a feature called Design Option
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
lets you swap out like from a little tiny
Hmm.
thing to whole
Yeah.
chunks of building. So that's what
Yeah.
Andrew and them are referring.
And
Yeah.
on average, we have probably 16 standard design options per house.
Mm.
And they could be anything from an extra sink to redoing a whole, bathroom. Um, Now, some plans can get up in the 20s, and with design options, as you start increasing
Dang.
options, you start increasing complexity and ways to connect those.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get into this in another video. We use a software called LotSpec. It's by Simpson Strong Tie, and it's our options manager, and it solves a lot of that complexity
Mm.
issue. Because very quickly, if you have three options that touch three other options, you now have 9 different variations, and then you've got to model all 9 of those variations. So it can get out of hand really quick.
Yeah. I could see that. Interesting.
Yeah.
So now that you're in the production side of things or in the large production home side of things, uh, going in back into maybe custom homes
Mhm.
eventually, uh, how can you maybe bring some of that with you into the custom side?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is because on production, you're really focused, especially price point and spec. Like those are the two areas you really dial in on, and allowing yourself to take that into the custom process where, it's kind of you have this bucket of money and you're like, this is our budget.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just, pulling levers to adjust that budget. It just allows you to see more levers you can adjust. Like, hey, if we take 9-foot ceilings in this one area, but we go to 12 in this other area, and we offset? Like, where can we
Mm.
take money from one area and put in another area and make more impact on the design? Um, and a lot of times it's maybe stuff outside of the design. It's, hey, we contracted with this vendor this way, and we're able to get a better price. And then we just take that same process into the custom world. There's a lot of different that just gives you more variables to adjust to price or to adjust to spec, or it enables you to do more things. You're like, man, I would really love that corner sliding door, but it's like 20 grand.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, where can we get that money in the design, like
Yeah.
without impacting the design? And you can start looking at it that way and be like, oh, actually, we don't need this part over here to be like this. We can adjust it. Nothing impacts the inside of the house,
Mm.
and then put that money elsewhere. So it's a lot of that, working with structural teams, knowing different structural solutions. There's really it just provides different avenues of approach to the actual project.
Yeah. Makes me think about too like um just talking about cost and pricing and some of the vendors and stuff. And so on the production side of things, are you guys detailing out any of like how the house is being built? Like how efficiency or how I guess the envelope is
Envelope
built.
efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually separate it, I think, into 3 different categories. So we do have an actual spec sheet, and it applies to every home that falls under that spec.
Hmm.
And you go through, you list out everything, your appliances, um, maybe the envelope goes in there. In some areas, maybe foundation type goes in there, because we do build across 7 different states. We're merging with DRB homes, and that'll expand to even I think it's like 11 different states. It's we're going to be half the country now. And
Mm.
so there's a lot of things that spec sheet controls, but it's kind of like whatever's in that spec sheet is blanket. So any plan that falls under that spec gets that. So it covers landscaping, it covers plumbing fixtures, pretty much that level of detail. Now, whenever it's something that's let's say series specific, maybe we're doing 10-foot plate standard on this product, let's just say metal roofs on this product, then you'll have details and things that are only for that series.
Mm.
So it's a lot of what we do is finding out, okay, where does that information go into which category? Is it a spec category that applies to a whole list of plans? Is it a series category that applies to just a series? Or is it just something that this one plan is unique and that's how we build that one plan?
Yeah.
We've also done that.
Do you see production home builders, are they concerned with, how concerned are they with envelope efficiency, like the energy efficiency of envelope?
Yeah.
Because the energy code
Hmm.
It's kind of
makes
dictating
makes
some
it
of
a
That's
it.
pretty
the
good makes a pretty good envelope anyway.
yeah.
Are they going beyond the energy code? And if they get to a place like, let's say Texas has adopted the
2024, I think.
2024
Yeah.
IECC now, I think.
Mhm.
Um, if you're building a home here and then you go somewhere else and you're building the
Mhm.
same home but it's under older energy, are y'all like, we're gonna pare back the energy efficiency because we don't have to there? I mean, do you see that happening, or are
I
they just like,
think
man, we want to build an efficient home?
yes,
You
and
know,
it's funny because let's say you go to a city that they're still on 2021 and the city's on 2024. If you build 2024 in that 2021, sometimes they'll say, "Oh no, you don't meet the 2021 code," even though you're on 2024.
yeah, no, I get that.
And
Yeah,
so a lot of times builders are like, well, we don't even want to, because like one or two homes or a community that happens to, it just creates a chain reaction in the process. Now you're doing extra communication, extra, involvement in this community to where you're like, let's just do 2021 for this community. That way, those homes can go out. It can be smooth. You're not holding up permits for customers. Because I think the number one thing is, what can we deliver to the customer? A lot of times, customers don't like to hear like, oh yeah, it's getting held up at the city, and your house is going to take a few more months to get through the process.
yeah,
But
but
it's
isn't that something that can just be addressed early on? Like, because
oh yeah,
we in the commercial side, we're like, okay, well, this client wants to
yeah,
be much more energy efficient, or the city's about to adopt the next
hmm,
code. Well, CBO, can
yeah.
we use the newer code?
A
Most
lot
of the time,
of
they're going to say, yeah, please.
yeah. It really
Yeah.
depends on the city.
Yeah. But my real question though is, does the builder truly concerned about it though?
Oh yeah.
Because to build a slightly more efficient home is going to cost a little bit
Mhm.
more. If they don't
Oh
have
yeah.
to, will they?
So
Or
we
is it
do
so
a
much about
HERS
the bottom?
rating, and I think right now that seems to be the way it's gonna go. Is
What is hers?
It's like an energy score. It's they do like a blower door test, measure efficiency, and then you
Mhm.
score a certain number on the rating. Um,
Do you remember what that stands for?
don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was funny because there was the HERS rating, there's Energy Star, and there was one other number out there for energy ratings, and it was kind of
I
like
can't
which
remember
one
what
is
they
the
are.
industry going to count on
Yeah.
to measure efficiency?
Yeah.
Efficiency, and it turns out HERS is probably going to be the standard. Funny thing with Energy Star, it looks like it might be going away because with Energy Star, builders are incentivized to go with it because they get a rebate to help cover some of the cost. But that looks like it's going to be going away, and it's been going to the HERS standard, which is still a higher standard. You just have more options to meet it.
Hmm.
So it does depend on what kind of rating you're going for. So like Energy Star, they say you need this system, this insulation, these particular items to Star, whereas hers says you can do these things or you can do these set of things to meet it, but you can also mix and match to get to that rating, and
Hmm.
it's more about
Kind of
achieving
like
the
Comcheck
number.
and ResCheck,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Something
yeah,
that we
building the
might need to look into.
efficiency
Yeah.
trade-offs. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so really, it comes down to um, the builder. What are they trying to reach with that rating? For instance, in one division, we do all tankless water heaters because that improves our score and it helps. To me, I like it. It helps the city with more efficiency, especially on water. I have a
Mm.
tankless water heater in
Mm.
my house, and I actually bought a home from our company, and I love that thing. My energy bill is like $70 a month. That's it.
Mhm.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's actually
I get
really, really good.
I get those knocks on the door from the solar companies. Hey, we can lower your bills. I'm like, can you beat 70? And they're like, we'll talk to you again soon. And they're off. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. That's my favorite
Tell you
thing.
what, man, I was renting a house until January that had a tankless water heater, and
Yeah.
the house we've just bought does not. And
Oh,
I forget sometimes. I'll be
yeah.
standing in the shower just for
It
a
turns
long
cold.
while. And I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, somebody else might want to use some hot water.
That,
That's yeah.
yeah. And I think right now the way the energy is going, the 2024 code really it's a huge leap as far as energy efficiency.
Hmm.
I haven't looked at the 2024
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet
Yeah,
either.
it's very
We're in
robust.
2025.
In fact,
Yeah.
I think the city of McKinney is about to have they're about to have a little symposium
Mhm.
about the changes.
Really?
I've got an email about it. We need to,
Mhm.
we
should
need to
probably
go. I
go
need to go to
be a
that.
part of that. Yeah.
And I think kind of what I'm liking, I'm seeing now is it's less about achieving a number and then like stricter requirements to achieve that number. I think right now it allows builders to be more flexible in how they achieve the number. So are you going to increase your outside layer of the home? Are you using OSB with an insulation layer, or are you using a wrap? Are you using got that other product, the board product? But there's different ways to meet that code now. And I think builders look at that because they're like, okay, if I buy in
That's
bulk
good.
this particular material, because if everybody buys OSB, then
OSB is
OSB
going to go
supply,
up.
yeah, it goes up, and then now that's the bigger one, and then builders are always looking, okay, how can I meet it, but what material am I going to use to meet it?
Hmm.
And then yeah, it's just a lot of you know play on how can we meet the code, materials that we're going to use, what cities will allow. Sometimes a city will step in and say, hey, these are our recommended ways to meet that and what we're looking for.
Yeah.
I would expect cities like City of Austin would probably have some details that they're looking for.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that the city would try to mandate that kind of stuff, because I got a former colleague that would say cities practice architecture without a
Oh
license.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and because why would the city? Not that we can answer the question; it's
Mhm.
rhetorical. Why would the city care how you meet the code? Because
Mhm.
you might be which I guess back to lead things like that. Also, you could be so much more energy efficient
Yeah.
than the code, but not meet the code.
Mhm.
So why would the city care? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that just comes down to
Bureaucracy.
yeah, it's and we see it a lot, especially because in production home building, we're always looking to where are people moving to. So we're going out to smaller cities, smaller areas, and you'll start to see like a small little town population of like 20,000 has just as strict codes as the city of Austin, and it's like, why is it so difficult to build in this one little city? But then everywhere around it, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
it's just it's weird
Did
how
we talked about
yeah.
that with our last guest about building outside of the jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, and I guess it depends on what state you're into, because like in Texas, counties don't carry codes.
Mhm.
The state of Texas has an energy code.
Mhm.
That's the end of it.
I think
don't-
there's an
yeah.
overall, isn't there an overall code that Texas
I
like
don't think so. I think just
No?
the energy
Yeah.
code.
it's just
I
all
think it's just the energy code that the
Really?
state and all that only applies if you're in a county or building a state
yeah.
facility.
Yeah, I know Ohio there was townships. So
Mhm.
like you had counties, but then you had townships within that county.
Yeah.
So then those townships basically oversaw building codes within a certain area
Yeah.
within that county. So it wasn't like the entire county trying to control thing.
Yeah.
It was controlled by those townships.
Yeah.
Uh, it was just broken
Yeah.
out that way, and I could see the benefits to that because it's one of the houses that we're going to be building soon. Uh, it's not within a city jurisdiction at all. It's
Just in a county.
It's in a county, and the only governing body over it is really the
It's
HOA.
the HOA. Yeah.
And all they're requiring is us to submit drawings. That really all they're looking for is whether or not it meets their architectural.
Yeah. They're looking for the aesthetics of
yeah.
it. Yeah. They don't, they don't
As
care
long
about
as
the
it
rest of
meets their certain standards. Beyond that, there is no inspections or anything that happens.
No.
So it's like,
Yeah. So
you can just build whatever the heck you
the
want.
house Andrew's talking about, the Texas Energy Code is the only code that we actually will have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I think they do require structural drawings though.
Yeah.
As part of their submission.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Compared to like,
Oh,
if you go up to, I'm just using this kind of as an example, but if you go up to like Oklahoma or Broken Bow, which we all should pretty well know of, like it's kind of a cool vacation
Yeah.
spot or whatever, and it's close to Dallas or not that far. So people go there. And there's also people that went up there and built some houses and for that reason, for vacationing and stuff. And it cracks me up that there's probably so many houses up there that there's no governing body that's doing any inspections. So like, oh, is that framing done right?
Yeah.
Is the electrical
Yeah.
done
Is that
right?
wiring?
Yeah.
Like,
especially since they're non-occupied homes. Like usually it's like
Yeah.
you're only going up there for the weekend,
And then nowhere close to
renting it
fire
out.
service.
Yeah.
because then, do you know, like, was there a licensed or a licensed
Yeah.
electrician working on that? Was there a licensed plumber working on
Yeah.
that? Now, typically, you don't have to have a license to do framing, but
Mhm.
I mean, typically that's all done in inspections, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, I just think
Mhm.
about that and just think about those houses. Like, man, are they going to be falling down in like
Yeah.
2 years, 5 years, 1 year?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
probably the one aspect of, architectural review that I don't have any gripes about is requiring structural drawings, like structural details. Cause that's really that's what determines if it's going to stand up or not.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
as architects, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's part of our
Yeah.
ethos is that we need to be building sound
Yeah.
buildings that are not going to fall down on people, that aren't going to hurt people. You know,
Yeah. I mean, we protecting the life safety is
yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause
number one.
I mean, if what was that a couple years ago where that balcony just completely
Oh, yeah,
fell
yeah,
off? What was
yeah,
that
yeah.
in Colorado or something like that?
Yeah.
It's happened a few times.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure it has. But I mean, that architect,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
And
Yeah.
they're not having a good day probably after that one.
that's one thing that I think we've all learned is that, just being in architecture, you do have to know a little bit about everything in order to actually better the design, a little bit about structural,
Yeah.
a little bit about plumbing,
Yeah.
HVAC, like in production homes, HVAC is, you don't need to know everything, but you need to know like, okay, there's a return duct, there's supply ducts, there's like this size of home is probably gonna have this amount of ducts. Where are they going to go? Because
Mhm.
now if you have a 2-story, you got to find chases for all those things and where do they connect to and snake throughout the house. And then if you're building in another state, they're now no longer coming from the roof, coming from the ground. So now you got to get chases up to the second floor. So there's you got to know at least some things in order to better the design. No one likes to open like their coat closet and then half of it is just an AC chase, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What happened here?"
Okay, so I want you mentioned you mentioned returns and whatnot. I've got my friend Don Clement, who is Clement Services.
Mhm.
He'll be on here eventually. It's HVAC.
Mhm.
He does from single family homes to install, to vent hoods and pizza ovens. So I've never been in a house with him
Mhm.
where he didn't go, "There's not enough returns." Like you look at
Yeah.
in my house, it's a 2-story house. There's 2 returns, one upstairs
Yeah.
and one downstairs. He goes, "Well, this room's hot because there's not a return in it."
Mhm.
So why do you? I mean, is it really so much more costly to just add those returns in those rooms that production builders are like, "Nah, we're not going to do it," even though it would be far more comfortable for the
Yeah.
house, you know,
Yeah, I think
help out balancing and everything. I mean, that's just a,
I think a lot of it is design because the tricky part is you're designing a system that, let's say it's that 2,000 square foot home. Well, you have options that can take that home up to 2,500 square feet. And now you have to have AC options that can accommodate that extra footage. And then if it's a 2 story, now you have areas that, okay, I could get chases here, but I have bedrooms on this wall, and there's just open rooms. I have no way to get a chase on that side of the house. So now you're starting to see like, okay, do I impact the floor plan design for an AC chase, or do I just find ways to cool the house in other areas, and then just to kind of offset that area? Um,
Mm.
it's you gotta really pick your battles, especially in areas that are like a lot of things move with an option, and you have chases that get added or removed with an option. Then you're like, okay, now if I remove a chase, where can I add another chase to then get it down there? Um, there's just so much consideration, and those particular things. That's where it really does come down to, okay, what are the minimum returns we need? What are the minimum chases we need to
okay. So
have?
there's the problem. Is the
Yeah.
word minimum
Yeah, yeah,
is
Yeah.
the problem. That answers the question right there.
Yeah.
Is what's the minimum?
Yeah.
When in reality, okay, so you've got a supply right here. It wouldn't have been
Yes.
hard for them to put a return right there.
Yeah.
It would. I mean, it's a cost issue
Yeah.
though, right? Because the
Yeah.
minimum return is I got to have a return somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not so much
Because we're undercutting doors and dragging air
yeah.
back from that, but that's just not very efficient, right? It keeps
Yeah.
this room.
A lot of it could be also like
And that's why they put the return air in
Yeah.
the
In the-
master, because
you
they're the homeowners,
want
right?
it to
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Exactly.
make them comfortable, but who cares about the
so-
kids?
Yeah, which is something that at distilled homes we want to be, even in our spec homes that we eventually build, we want to be
We want
more
to
sensitive
we
to
want to be
things like
thinking
that.
about those
because-
things and offering those outwardly offering those things
Yeah.
to the client.
We're gonna have a whole discussion about HVAC systems,
Yeah.
and because
But anyway, coming down
we're
to
still
that,
using systems that were designed 200 years ago, right?
yeah.
we
Well, coming down to that,
yeah.
my question for you, or kind of a thought right now, is
Mhm.
like distill down the what the customer wants in like
Oh yeah, yeah.
in custom homes versus production homes. Like, what did you see?
Mhm.
Like, maybe distill down like what the somebody coming in wanting to buy one of
Yeah.
your production houses versus what
Yeah, custom
like
homes.
what they want, what they desire more.
I would say, it's really interesting because it's some of the base needs for both buyers. Some people want a bigger house because their family is growing. Some
Mhm.
people are just moving. First, not necessarily first time home buyers, but new home buyers. Maybe they're moving from an apartment, moving from a townhouse into a bigger house. But it's just like on top of that for the custom buyer, they have a particular, because I always say, nobody's buying a house because they want walls and a roof. It's usually to facilitate a particular lifestyle they're looking for. And the custom buyer is more specified on that need. Maybe it's they need an extra morning room where they have people over and they have brunch, and they want to host in that particular area, and that's something they already do. They just they're just having to take up a existing room to do it, but now they'll have a space that's
But now they
dedicated
want
for it.
something specifically designed for that.
Maybe it's a home gym. Maybe it's dogs. I've actually designed some pretty nice dog rooms because this one person had two Great Danes, and they're huge dogs. They needed their own little room. It was off the laundry room. They had their own little beds with a feeding system in the middle. They
Wow.
even had their own back door to their own little backyard that they can go run and then come back and then back in the house without the owner having to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
impressive.
pretty
so it was
nice,
it was like a very specific, like, I want my dogs to have this.
Yeah.
Whereas in production buying, it's we have one kid and we're expecting another kid, so we need 3-4
We
bedrooms.
just need another bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we need to be in that school district. We need to be near this town. We have
So
relatives
it's
that
not
live
necessarily
here.
more about the house, it's more about the
Yeah.
location and just, oh, as long as I have these certain
Mhm.
items, we're happy. Compared to
Yeah.
the custom home side, it's more about like, they have a thought
Mhm.
process, and they have a specific need or
Yeah.
want that they want fulfilled.
Because I think a lot of times location is already decided. Usually it's like we have this lot, we need a house on it. So the location part of that process has already been fulfilled. So now it's dialing in the specific needs they want in the house
Yeah.
on the custom side.
Interesting.
And yeah, in
Hmm.
production, you don't know your customer, so you got to anticipate needs. So you've got to design houses that are for first time home buyers, for move up buyers, people with kids, people with dogs, people with uh, all sorts of type of different living. If you're designing a house in San Antonio, what about the veteran buyer? What about the basic training buyer who's having roommates and all living in one place while they're in basic training, and then they're going to sell off the
Yeah.
house when they leave?
Hmm.
So it's
What about the car guy who wants an 18 car garage and a
that too.
two-bedroom house?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think more people would do you think people the 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 the, the production builder
Mhm.
buyer of production homes, do you think there's a do you think there's either a lack of knowledge or understanding,
Mm.
or that, well, we would like to have a house designed for us,
Mhm.
but we don't know how to do that, or we think it's going to cost more, or, I mean, do you think there's some of that in saying, well, I'll just go get you a
Mhm.
custom home, or they just don't know? Uh,
Yes, I will say buying a new home is a lot like choosing a cell phone plan. Everyone has different processes, different plans, different metrics. Like, oh, we give you unlimited talk and text. And you're like, yeah, but on data, we only give you 5 GB. But if you go to another carrier, totally different package, different scenario. It's the same with picking a new home with a builder. This builder, they do just spec homes, and what you see is what you buy. This builder, they do spec homes, and you can actually select certain options. Maybe you can
Mhm.
customize like 5 things. Or you have
Hmm.
production builders where it's like, yeah, you buy the home and then you get to
That's
pick all
interesting.
the stuff in the home.
Yeah.
So, and it changes from builder to builder. There's some builders that they promote a lot of even energy options. Do you want foam insulation on your house? Do you want it to be full envelope? Do you want just the walls? Um, they Meritage does that. Um, there's a lot of different solutions out there, and I don't think buyers know everything that's available. They just kind of see the location they want, then they see the builders in the area, and then they got to choose. Oh, this builder, we really like this stuff, and then this builder, yeah, we like some of their stuff, but it just wasn't there. And what's different from our approach is we actually take we actually design for that interaction,
Yeah.
because we want, as a designer, we want to control from customer interaction to customer walking in their home for the after they purchased it.
Yeah.
We want to actually account for every single stage in that process, which is something unique to the home buying industry. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times it's just, let's just give a home square footage, bedroom count, put it out
Yeah.
there.
I almost
Um,
feel like there's um what was I going with? Like there's people don't know what they want
mm,
until they actually see it.
that too, yeah.
And what production homes brings you is like, uh, there's somebody designing them, of
Hmm.
course, and thinking through some of this stuff. And of course, some of it's probably based on data, one
Hmm.
of like uh, what's selling versus what's not, and depending on what regions and stuff. So, of course, the designer is going to put certain things into that, you know, and then they're going to put it out there. And
Yeah.
the homeowner or the prospective homeowner is going to walk in and walk through like, oh, this house has a media room. I
Hmm.
never thought about that. I
Yeah.
want one of those. And yeah, I'm going to spend the extra money to get that.
Hmm.
And that house has it. I want that house then because it's got that thing, and it made me,
Oh yeah,
it
yeah.
gave it an emotion, just like when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone for the very first time. It sparked something in all
Yeah.
of us
Yeah.
of like, oh, I need that, or I want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So, and as opposed, so I'm, I'm going to move out to BFE, Texas, whatever.
Mhm.
There's a home builder out there. What do you think drives somebody to just go, well, I'm going to go look at the home builders in that area instead of
Mm.
saying, I'm going to go find me somebody to design me a home? What do you think where do you think that
Yeah, there's
I
so
almost feel like it's something that somebody wants to
just
see.
people just not
yeah.
know? I mean,
I think it is the kind of the assumption that picking your own home and your own land is going to be more expensive than production homes, and
And it takes more
sometimes
time
and
too.
more time.
yeah.
Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
it's
true.
better, especially when you said like a place out there, because now you're talking about lead times. More than likely in a rural area, it's going to be the same lead time, same job time, same everything. Just because trades are going to have the same delivery times out there. So now you just eliminate that. Now it's just okay. What's the cost difference? Because time is going to be the same, construction delivery is going to be the same. Now the other factor that goes into it is a lot of times like right now there's a lot of inventory on the ground. Home builders are trying to get rid of it, and so they're doing incentives. You can actually right now with some builders get a 4.5% interest rate on a house
Yeah.
because they're buying down the rate to get rid of the inventory.
Yeah.
And then that's really where, if you're trying to do a custom right now and then you're in the same range as that home, it's like, okay, now I gotta battle that.
Yeah. That's a
Now,
double-edged sword though, because like,
yeah.
and I know this personally because one of my actually my brother-in-law is going through this right now where
Mm,
they're trying to sell their house because they're having a house built by another
yeah.
builder. So they're trying to sell their house that they currently have and live in, but there's a chance that they might not be able to because there's such a surplus of other
Hmm.
homes out there, and you're competing against all these like brand new home builds that are buying down
It's
the
becoming a
Yes.
ranks.
buyer's market. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Now, I will say, with the invention of technology, information, and also new processes, the gap between new homes and custom homes is going to close. I think, there used to be a bigger difference in price,
Hmm.
bigger difference in delivery time. There's definitely a bigger difference in quality because you get to choose not only selections in the home, but the
Hmm.
actual structure of the home. Like if someone they want a full wrap monopoly framing house, they can build it. Whereas in a production home, the structural is not up to you. You just kind of get the internals, flooring, countertops, and paints and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but that gap is going to start to close, I think, more and more, and which just allows for more options for buyers. And eventually, it'll be a good thing that hey, I can either customize the things that I see
Hmm.
and then just be okay with the structural and buy in this neighborhood, or if I really want a home that's tailored to me, specific to what I need, even just has things that I would have that maybe another buyer wouldn't have. I can go custom and just pay maybe a fraction more and get exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Because even like I was fortunate enough, I bought a home with our company. I got to pick my selections, pick out all the stuff. Um, and then, if I had to do it again, there's little things I would do differently. But, just being able to select those things and really kind of now that I know of the things that I would really pay attention to,
Hmm.
in my next home, I would be like, okay, if I could do a custom home, which I'm looking to do here soon, um, I would want these specific things. I would want an option that is not typical for a normal home or
Yeah.
something. Um,
Yeah. Because a lot of
yeah.
times the production side, they're designing the house for an overall
Mm-hmm.
customer uh, rather than just like a specific customer. And
Yeah.
so,
For
yeah.
example, I remember the house that we walked in the home tour. It was I don't remember if it was Ohio State
Oh, no, it
fan.
had
It
the
was
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Badgers.
That's what got
So
you.
we walked into that house, and immediately you could tell this is someone that works from home. His whole office and
Well, he was
business.
also handicapped,
Yeah, yeah,
and the house was specifically designed
yeah.
around that. So there was wider hallways.
Always.
The desk
Oh, the
was
desk was awesome.
specifically designed for somebody that was like in a
Yeah,
wheelchair.
it was
So
a
it had very
yeah.
minimal like uh stuff under it. So you could freely swing out and in without hitting anything. And then yeah,
And
the whole house was there was ramps
yeah,
everywhere for all the step ups and step
and I
downs. I
think
mean, it was
people
very
worked
well
with him
designed.
because in his study he had other desk areas. And so it looked like he maybe had some people that worked with him, but it was like it's something that you just can't get that in a production home.
No.
It's very unique, very specific, but it's dialed into like exactly what you're looking for. And I think uh, there is a price for that, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And I
Yeah.
think that price is coming down as we get into more, more technology and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah,
just,
which we want to get into like go
Yeah.
in some other episodes, but yeah. But anyways, like thank you, Joe, for
Oh,
one,
yeah.
for coming on with us and working with us on this adventure. Joe is part of the team for Architecture Distilled, helping us with the whole like editing and video side of everything.
Yeah, I'm behind
But-
the camera right now.
Yeah, right now he's changed.
This is all AI.
That's probably why like we're
It's a
having no
hologram
camera
right here.
changing right now. No. But yeah, thank you, Joe, for coming on, and thank you everybody for jumping on with us. And make sure you check out Distilled Homes, the Cliffbrook home, and Architecture Distilled, of course. And then check out Ebarb Gist and Left Brain Studios. And so all those that are sponsoring us and all those that are watching and us right now, make sure you like, subscribe, and also leave a comment. Tell us anything that you want us to do, or things that you want us to
Topics,
talk about, or even if you just want to come on and talk with us too. So we can figure that out. We can do that over video or anything really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks
All
for
right, well,
jumping
thanks,
on
Joe.
with us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.